Okay, so as far as the subject of debt, there's good debt and bad debt. Again, it goes back to the financial statement. Income, expense, asset, liability. So debt falls in here. So if you, let's say I'm going to buy, everybody says I'm going to buy a house, and everybody says my house is an asset. That's not true. Your house is a liability. I don't care if you have no debt on it or not. A house is a liability. Same as if you have a car. A car is a liability. And the reason for that is, as we talked about earlier, the 6 words that are basics of financial education, financial intelligence. Income, expense, asset, liability. And the 2 other words are cash flow. So when you look at the average person, they have a job. Money comes in here. They pay for their house. And the money goes to a bank through a mortgage. So it's not an asset because the cash is flowing out. So it's a liability. So the definition of liability, does it take money from your pocket? And for an asset, does it put money in your pocket? So when I have a rental property here, it puts money in my pocket. So if I live in the house, it's a liability, because even if I have no debt on it, I still have taxes, depreciation, repairs, and upkeep, insurance, and all this. When I rent a property, I've done a good job buying it and structuring it. Every month, it sends me money. So I started off when I was 25. I had a little 1-bedroom condo, and it put 25 bucks in my pocket. It was a start. So this was good debt. You see, the debt also went out and paid, but it also put $25 in my pocket. So net, I was making money from my little house. So today, my wife and I own 6,500 of them. And every month, 6,500 houses put money in my pocket. My people who live in them love me and all this because they have a place to live. But all of this comes from debt. So they're 100% financed here. It's all debt. So this is good debt. And what makes it good debt are the 2 most important words. Cash flow. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Any comments on this?
So numerous people my age actually think debt is horrible. And you just showed us a perfect example of cash flow and how debt can generate income. And many entrepreneurs use this formula to make money on a day-to-day basis.
So what most people do is they have student loan debt, SL, and that debt is going out this way. You know, it doesn't put any money in your pocket. You can say, well, I have a job. Well, that's still you working for it. So I don't work for any of this money here. I do this job once, set the deal up. Every year I add more and more and more of it. I'm borrowing money from here. It's coming here and going this way. So the debt is putting money in my pocket, and bad debt is taking money from my pocket. So the problem is, if you're going to use debt, you've got to be much smarter than this person here. You've got to be very, very smart. That's why I took real estate classes when I was 25, and I've never stopped taking real estate classes. Because you buy a piece of real estate and you make a mistake, this turns into a liability. If I get the renter leaves the place, this goes here that fast, and the cash flows that way. Okay, it's going out of my pocket. So it has nothing to do with real estate. It has nothing to do with the car. Nothing to do with student loan. It has to do with these 2 words here. So good debt, again, is debt when I borrow for this and it puts money in my pocket. If I had a car and I borrowed money from it and somebody rented for me as an Uber driver or something and it put money in my pocket, it would be an asset. My wife and I have a boat, And most boats lose money, but our boat makes money because it's in a charter. People rent my boat all the time. So it's nothing to do whether it's a boat, student loan debt, a house, a car, or whatever. It has to do with these two words here. And so most of the time, you've had accounting classes. They don't talk much about this, do they?
This is something they never mentioned to me in college.
Why is that, you think?
Like you mentioned before, I mean, there's people that are actually teaching students something that they don't apply in their daily life, something that they barely have knowledge about and they only learn through a textbook.
But you've taken accounting classes, right?
Yeah, exactly, I did.
You made A's in it?
Well, I did finally get a high grade the second time around, but that was because I had a real accountant teaching me the real applications of accounting, as opposed to a fake teacher, right? So your advisor, Tom Wheelwright, taught me in 1 hour what I could have learned the entire semester with this one teacher that wasn't even an accountant in his real life.
A big lesson for you is that it's nothing to do with the house, the car, the student loan. It has to do with where's the cash flowing. If the cash is flowing into your income statement, into your pocket, it's an asset. It's good debt. But if it's taking money from your pocket, it's bad debt. About debt, there's good debt and bad debt. Any comments on that?
Well, I think just like Trump, you know how to apply the rules of debt, and he calls himself the king of debt, right?
If you're going to be successful, like whether you're an employee or entrepreneur, you've got to control the direction of your cash flow. So you look at most people here, we've talked about it earlier, they get a job and the cash flows out here, it goes to the government, called taxes. Okay. Trump doesn't do this, I don't do this legally. The reason is because we're entrepreneurs, not employees. Employees have this, entrepreneurs don't. Because it's a type of asset. Any other thing?
I'm good.
So what would you like to say to the young millennials listening to this?
I'd say don't be afraid of debt, and if you know how to use it, use it.
Good debt puts
Money in your pocket.
Could a credit card be good debt?
Well, it just depends what you spend the money on, right? So if you spent it on something that's going to produce income for you, like an asset, then it's good debt. But if you spend it on, let's say, a jacket that you wanted from Burberry, then it's not.
First property there, it was in Maui, Hawaii in the 1970s. I bought it with a credit card.
Wow.
Property was $18,000, my first, but I've taken several real estate classes. And so I knew what to look for. I found this one property. It took a long time. When I found it, I just broke out my credit card and bought it, and it put $25 in my pocket. It went from this little dinky little thing, this was years ago, $25. It was good debt. I wish I never sold it. It was a big mistake to sell it, because today it's probably worth $400,000 or $500,000, and that's a whole nother story. Mm-hmm. That's why I don't flip properties. I don't like to do that stuff. So anything else? So good debt, what?
Money in your pocket.
And bad debt, what?
Takes money out of your pocket.
That's all there is.
Yeah.
Thank you.